would you be investing in those companies right now? Like, are there any sectors that emerge specifically for you?
So in our Stellar Wealth Partners India Fund and in Complete Circle Stellar Wealth PMS, we have invested in transmission and distribution plays, and we have also invested in a few water treatment companies. I think these two sectors will have a lot of growth ahead of them because of the sheer growth in AI infrastructure being put across the world. I think next decade looks very, very promising. They are fairly valued on a current year basis, but if you simply take a long term view, I think the returns from year 2 to year 5, we can compensate you for the low returns in year 1. I think that is, again, this is time arbitrage.
Yeah.
When you take a long-term approach, basically, many investors it's just focus on the next quarter or 2 quarters. You simply elongate your time horizon and have patience. The returns from year 2 to year 5 compensate you handsomely for the low returns in year 1. But that's something which most investors are not willing to put up with because everyone is caught up in instant gratification.
Yeah.
So
And gamification of the trading apps has made it even worse, right? Because on like a swipe of a phone, you can buy any company or exit any company. So it just makes it so much harder to be long term, truly long term. So, like going back to that, like also in terms of idea discovery, there are sources like Value Picker, etc., that one looks up to. But what have your sources of ideas been so far? Like, where are some of the best ideas coming from? Is it a lot of inner work, reading, all of that, or is it through interactions with peers, etc.?
it's a very exhaustive list, and I would like to share some of the items from the list with your audience.
Sure.
So every single, starting with BSC corporate announcements. So every single day, I go through all the filings on the Bombay Stock Exchange, and look for potential new developments and sources of ideas. So I go through the M&A deals, joint venture announcements, any corporate announcement about any expansion. For many investors, it's a very tedious, boring task, but for me, it's like an intellectual treasure hunt wherein I may strike gold at any point of time. I also go through the press releases, investor presentations, annual reports of companies, the conference call transcripts of companies. I also go through to develop industry level knowledge. I also go through draft red herring prospectuses. Initiating coverage reports of companies are another great source for getting industry level information. A less talked about but very good source for idea generation is going through the top 5 holdings of fund managers on PMS Bazaar website. A login on the website is free.
Yeah.
Once you log in, you can actually go through the top holdings of fund managers whose investment philosophy you like and admire and respect. That's another good source. You can also use screening tools like Tijori Finance, Screener.in. That's another good source. You have forums like Value Picker where you can have a lot of idea generation taking place. Daily interactions with peers and colleagues in the industry is another good source. Go through management interviews in print and digital media. That's also another good source for idea generation. So there's a plethora of sources, and if you go through so many resources on a daily basis throughout your career, how can you not be simply flooded with good opportunities all the time, be it a bull market or a bear market? In life, business, relationships, or investing, nothing will work. Nothing will work unless you do.
Yeah.
And there is no reason for anyone to settle for an inferior track record in a marketplace like India, which is filled with companies having great fundamentals. Just the person who turns over the most rocks wins the game, like Peter Lynch has said. So just turn over as many rocks as you can, and eventually you'll come across a great opportunity.
That's amazing. And that's a very exhaustive list that you've given our audience. But how much time do you spend doing that? Because it does take a lot of work to be able to go through all of the exhaustive lists that you just shared. So how much time do you spend inculcating this on a regular basis?
7 to 8 hours on the weekdays, daily
Wow.
basis, yes.
Amazing. No wonder you have such great ideas and obviously a lot of rich information that, floods your head and always prepped with ideas. But then how often do you act in terms of making investing decisions? Because, as a great investor, you don't need to act very often. You need to act a few times, but get it right. Like, Warren Buffett famously says that, he must have had like out of his entire career, maybe 12 investment decisions that he got right. How do you think of making the bets when you do that?
The idea behind doing all this exhaustive research every day, Shrishti, is not to actually necessarily act or buy a new stock. It's to build up a bench or or a watch list of great ideas. Basically, what happens in India is sometimes some adverse industry level development takes place. Sometimes a promoter related development takes place. Something or the other goes wrong in some or the other company you're investing in. So it's very important to be ready with a watch list of great opportunities, which you can basically recycle the capital into. That's the whole idea behind doing all this research on a daily basis. I want to have 10 to 15 high potential opportunities ready with me on a regular basis at all points of time. so that in case I need to sell a certain stock from my fund portfolio or the PMS portfolio, then at least I have a ready replacement with me.
Hmm. And then, also applying this from your book in terms of joys of compounding, how does your personal portfolio differ from your PMS portfolio?
So managing public money for a fund or a PMS is vastly different from managing money in your personal brokerage account, because when you're managing public money, you have to pay attention to two key things. The quality of the business that you're investing in, that is non-negotiable when you're managing public money. The second big thing you have to focus on when you're managing public money is that you have to also look at the trading volume liquidity. In your personal capacity, you can invest in illiquid macro caps also. But what happens when you're managing public money is you have to also look at whether the stock is liquid enough, so that if in case something goes wrong, you're able to at least exit that position for the clients. So these two things you have to focus on. A third, most important, if you're looking to build a enduring investment enterprise over the long run, the process which you follow has to be replicable, repeatable, and scalable. You have to, if you basically want to leave behind a legacy, you want to focus on something which is easily replicable. So that these are the three things: the process, the trading volume liquidity, and the quality of the business that you're investing in. These are the three differentiators for you.